it's Kim, and this is part 2 in our Moana series. If you didn't see my last video, make sure that you go watch where I made the Heart of Te Fiti. And in this video, I'm going to be making Moana's necklace. This, of course, does coincide with the Moana DVD release, which I am so excited for. It took place yesterday, so if you haven't gone out and bought it yet, make sure you go do that. DVDs are always cheaper and on sale the first week that they are out. Hashtag still not sponsored. Anyway, here's how I made Moana's necklace. So first, this is the form that I used. It's 3 layers of tin foil, just wrapped around to this egg. Since obviously we can't bake the styrofoam egg, and it's going to fit the Heart of Te Fiti. Colors, I used peacock mixed with ultramarine blue and black. So we have these rolled out on the thinnest setting, and we're going to tear the black, and we're going to roll it out a little bit. I would definitely recommend using a brayer here. Then we're going to rip our peacock and our peacock mixed with ultramarine blue, and then stack them together in random stacks, making sure that we have a color on top. Then we just press them down to get the air bubbles out. Cut it in half and restack it. And then poke on the top as far down as you can with some tools, whether it's a round tool or ball tool or whatever you have, thumb or finger, whatever. I cut off a little spare piece and added it back to the top just because it was there. Then we're going to squish it all back together into a kind of a rectangle shape. And then here I take the wavy blade and run it across. I'm cutting the brick roughly in half. That's what it looks like when you're done doing that. And then we'll roll it out. Again, you're going to want to use a brayer or a real roller for this. And there we go. Next up, we're going to put this on our form. Just kind of shape it around and then trim up the edges. I'm using a flexible tissue blade here. Here they are after baking. And they fit pretty decently together, but they do need to be cleaned up a little bit. So I'm just actually using an emery board to clean those up, just the edges, make them a little bit smoother, make them fit together better. Next up, we're going to do the white part of Moana's necklace. So to do that, I flattened out some white pearl clay in the pasta machine and laid it over, and then I carved it based on what I saw in the images that I had found online. From there, just a little bit more carving, also based on those images. You can be as detailed as you want to be if you want it to match perfectly. I wanted mine to match perfectly, so I was extremely detailed in my carving. Next up, we're going to weather the piece a little bit. Doing this, I'm using just black acrylic paint. There's a tiny little bit of water mixed in. We're going to paint it on and then rub it off immediately. If it looks really gray, we're going to fix that in a minute here by using our trusty nail file. I found this to be the best method to get it a little bit whiter and keep the black in all of the crevices. Now, most people would use a hand drill for this, or really we should have poked a hole prior to, but I ended up having to use a pin to make a hole. Moving on, we're going to get to the necklace part of things. So I created a loop here, actually took the full length of hemp cord and cut it in half and then folded that in half, created a loop that's the perfect size to fit around a large pearl. Then we looped that loop around a paintbrush, which I wouldn't recommend this. You should actually tape it to your work surface or pin it, whatever, and then make a bunch of overhand knots. And here I continued to knot until it was the right size, using the strand of pearls to measure the length that I wanted it. Now we're going to get into the design portion of the program. So separating out one of the 4 cords, I made 12 knots. And then strung on a small pearl, separated the cord back out, made 1 knot over that cord, and then pulled that little bit of excess cord in to make a kind of spike. Then I knotted back together about 5 times and repeated the process to make another spike. Then 1 knot just to secure that all in together. Next, we'll add in a large pearl. Separate out 2 strands, and then do 13 more overhand knots just with the 2 strands. And then knot them around the 2 strands together. And there's 3 knots before the pearl and 3 knots after. Knot over the strand that you had left out, and then put everything back together in overhand knots. Then we're going to continue to repeat this process. Leaving 1 strand out, making 6 knots, tightening it all up, and then 1 knot with all 4 strands. Our last pearl for this side goes on right after that. And then it's just one more overhand knot, and it's time to put on our shell. So for this, I actually made a separate loop to hold the shell together. And then I loop the necklace through that loop so that the necklace shell is always facing forward. One more knot, and then we'll do the whole thing over again, but backwards. Once the other side is even, you're going to string on a pearl, make one more knot after the pearl, cut your strands short, and you're done. Now, if you want this to be movie accurate, you will have to add the spikes. For this, I just tied short strands of the cord over in double knots and then glued using jewelry glue. And there we have it. I love this thing so much. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks just like the actual necklace, or as close as we can get without animating it. Now there is one thing that I do need your help with. I can't close this thing. I can't figure out the best way to get it to close. So if you have any suggestions, comment down below and let me know. Otherwise, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.